Good evening. Welcome to Experiences in the World of the Paranormal. I am your host, Sardo101. And in tonight's episode, I'm going to attempt to answer a question posted by Superior Mind. What's the difference between the mythical and the real vampire? Well, to start off, the real vampire is basically Hollywood's vampire, and it makes a good mixture of the disease vampirism. And with vampirism, the symptoms are you believe you really are a vampire. Two, you believe you cannot go in sunlight. Three, you believe you have to sustain yourself on human blood. And basically whatever else Hollywood has told us a vampire really is. You also believe that you will die from a stake through the heart. Well, even you or me could die from a stake through the heart. Does that make us vampires or does it make us human? Yeah, I know. Something lame to think about, but whatever. Okay, and to explain the mythical side, I'm going to be using my reference material, Vampires in Myth and History by Beverley Richardson. And I'm just going to borrow from there a couple myths, plus my example of vampiric myth. Okay, well, let's get this started. Okay, the vampire myth goes back thousands of years from China. China has the red-eyed monster with green or pink hair, to the Greek Lamia, which is the upper body of a woman and has the lower body of a winged serpent. I'm going to use the Slavic vampire as my first example. The Slavic people, including most of Eastern Europe, from Russia to Bulgaria to Siberia to Poland, have the richest vampiric folklore and legend in the world. In the 9th and 10th, but through the 9th and 10th centuries, the Eastern Orthodox Church and the Western Roman Church were struggling with each other for supremacy. And the split caused a big difference in the development of vampiric lore. The Roman Church believed incorrupt bodies were saints, while the Orthodox Church believed them to be vampires. The origin of the Slavic vampire myth developed during the 9th century as a result of conflict between the pre-Christian paganism and Christianity. Christianity won out with vampires and other pagan beliefs surviving in folklore. Some of the causes for the Slavic vampire included being born with a tail, being conceived on certain days, irregular death, excommunication, improper burial rites, etc. Prevention methods were included placing a crucifix in the coffin, or blocks under the chin to prevent the body from eating the shroud, nailing clothes to the coffin walls for the same reason, placing millet or poppy seeds in the grave because vampires had a fascination with counting, or piercing the body with thorns or stakes. Evidence you had a vampire at work included death of cattle, sheep, relatives, neighbors, exhumed bodies being in a lifelike state with new growths of fingernails, hair, or the body was swelled up like a drum, or there was blood on the mouth, and if the corpse had a ruddy complexion. Vampires could be destroyed by staking, decapitation, burning, repeating the funeral service, holy water on the grave, or exorcism. There's an example of a vampiric myth. Also in the late 1900s, if you had tuberculosis, you would, of course, throughout the night, if you sleep on your back, you would have a lot of pressure on your lungs, right? And you start coughing up blood. Well, a lot of these people were mistaken as vampires because when they awoke the next day, if someone was sleeping beside them or walked into the room while they were still asleep, they'd find fresh blood in their mouth. So immediately these people were burned at a stake, had stakes to their heart because right away they're vampires because of the fact they had fresh blood in their mouth. What else can I tell you? One of my ancestors was Vlad the Impaler, and Vlad Tepes to be exact, was noted as one of the most evilest men in history, and also was Bram Stoker's basis for Dracula. And the townspeople of Brom, where his castle is, started calling him Dracu, which translates into the son of the dragon or the son of the devil. And Dracula actually came from that throughout history. Yeah, so that's currently right now my blurb on vampires. I will be doing more vlogs on vampires later on. Not too sure what I'm going to do next week's show on yet. But yeah, so hopefully you'll tune in for that, and thank you for watching. I am still Sardo101. I welcome all your comments and questions. Till next we meet.